Hello and a warm welcome to Federal Special Program Capital Beat. The battle for control of the TMC escalated dramatically on Friday when the rebel faction, led by leader of the opposition Ritabrata Banerjee, took charge of the party's operational headquarters, that is Trinamool Bhavan in Kolkata, that changed the locks, put up fresh posters, and declared it would henceforth operate from the premises. Now, the move came barely 24 hours after the dissident camp appeared before the full bench of the Election Commission in New Delhi to stake its claim over the party's name, symbol, and organizational structure, signaling an effort to translate its legislative strength into organizational control. Now, accompanied by senior rebel leaders Firhad, Hakim, Javed Khan, Sandeepan Saha, and party treasurer Akru Zaman, Ritabrata arrived at the office of the on the EM bypass and held a meeting inside the premises, asserting that his camp represented the real Trinamool Congress. Now, the office at the metropolitan locality has served as the party's operational headquarters since 2022, after the TMC shifted there during the reconstruction of its original headquarters. Mamata Banerjee's Kalighat residence, however, serves as the central office of the party. Now, the big question is that, of course, Kalyan Banerjee and Shaugato Rai and all these leaders have come up forward and they've said that this is illegal, we will go to the court. But this optics which is playing out, where the Trinamool Bhavan is captured, this final capture of the Trinamool Bhavan, does it bring down the curtains completely on the Mamata Banerjee era? Has the rebel faction been able to decimate Mamata Banerjee completely? That is the big question, and we'll try and discuss this. Joining me this evening is Shikha Mukherjee, senior journalist and political commentator. Thank you so much, Shikhaji, for joining. We have Manojit Mandal, who's been the spokesperson for the AITC, that is All India Trinamool Congress. Thank you so much for joining. Samir Purkaisa, senior journalist with the Federal. Thank you so much. And let me begin with Manojit. Manojit, I'm sure Mamata Banerjee's supporters must be very, very disappointed. They must be pained at looking at this capture of the Trinamool Bhavan. What do you think this episode really indicates?
I think, contrary to what you are saying, Mamata's supporters, over 2.5 crores, they'll be more bolstered to tackle these traitors. It's quite clear that they were the trespassers. The contract was with one of the party cardholders, still with Mamata Di, Vaishnav Chattopadhyay, till probably September of this year. This was a tented building. This was hired by the party in 2022 because the original building, as you rightly pointed out, was being reconstructed. So I think they are quite clearly the trespassers, but they trespassed with the help of the police and central forces, and we all know that they are controlled by the BJP. So I think this is happening at the behest of the BJP, which I think will bolster the resolve of the party. I wish them to sit in the Trinamool Bhavan for longer, every other day, and face what the party workers actually say. Very interestingly, none of these traitors, I call them traitors, they are not rebels, as I mentioned in one of your shows. Rebellion is something else. You don't rebel against a person who is already decimated. You rebel against a status quo, a government powers that be. They are basically traitors, the opportunists, and most of them are, tainted in terms of their cases. Like Ritabrata Banerjee had rape cases against him. Firhad Hakim went to jail. I do not need to talk about him. But then the question would be, why did Mamata Banerjee encourage them? Yes, that's the mistake she has been making since 2016. And someone like us, who did not get anything out of the party, but served the party for 30 years, we're trying to point out, we were sidelined. These people are propped up. And dare I say, if 5-10 years down the line, TMC comes back to the power, if I know Mamata Banerjee correctly, she will call them back again. There lies the problem. It's problem with her conduct of the people who actually support her. Look at the contrary to who are supporting Kunal Ghosh, Madan Mitra. None of them have really got anything out of the party, right? They have been there since long. They are now with Mamata. Shobhandev Chattopadhyay, he was also sidelined, right? Biman Banerjee. The Biman Banerjee held the post of the speakers. Even Kollam Banerjee, on and off, I think Mamata Banerjee at the age of 70 plus now, she should learn who are the real party workers, well-wishers who will stand by her side at this point in time. I think she harbored this person, and I repeat, this person came to the person who resigned today, Chandrima Bhattacharya, who was not with the party. She came to the party after 2009, sensing the change on the card. She was with the Congress. So I think most of these turncoats, led by the biggest of them all, the most rotten orange called Ritabrata Banerjee, they've all come from a different political party, but it is Mamata Banerjee who I think put them on her shoulders. There lies the mistake. She should learn from her mistake and rebuild the party with the real cadre, both old and the new one, who would be standing by her.
Let me come to Shikha now. Shikha, what does this capture of Trinamool Bhavan indicate? What does BJP government really want over there? Shuvendu Adhikari, and I'm sure with every move, with every political move which the rebel faction is making at the behest of Shuvendu and also at the behest of Delhi, now one cannot dismiss the fact that just 24 hours before, they were before the election commission saying that they are the real TMC and they are fighting for the symbol. And then this capture of Trinamool Bhavan, what does it indicate? And do you think that's going to bolster Mamata, or that's really going to dampen the spirits of Mamata and her supporters? You'll have to unmute. Shikhaji, you'll have to unmute. Yeah.
Just a minute. I think I'm unmuted. Yeah. So I have a lot of thoughts on this issue. One is that possession, it seems that the law has taken the route of being possession is 9/10 of the law. You take possession of something, whether it's legally done or illegally done, it hardly matters. That is how it is. In other words, we are moving back to feudal times, where possession was always 9/10 of the law. That's one. The second thing is that, having gone to the election commission and having declared themselves to be the real Trinamool, and that the issue of the symbol doesn't matter, this is kind of piracy. It is a kind of intellectual piracy of the symbol and name. And then the larger piracy which is going on of the party offices. So, in Bengali, there is a phrase, Mogir Muluk. Monks were generally pirates from the Arakans, meaning Myanmar. And this was kind of an omnibus term for both the pirates who came up the river from Myanmar and the Portuguese, who also operated like pirates, raiding the area, raiding the riverine area for whatever they could get. Now, this seems to be a Mogir Muluk. In other words, finders keepers, losers weepers. Finders keepers, losers weepers seems to be the way it is. And the government of the day, instead of looking at taking the complaints from the Kalighat Trinamool Congress, as it is now called, seems to be encouraging this kind of finders keepers attitude, because if they had taken these complaints seriously, then the police should have acted. But they're not taking it seriously. They're letting it go to the court, and the court will decide. But meanwhile, what is happening here is that there is, I don't know why the Trinamool Congress is not claiming that this is a theft of intellectual property. It should, because both the name and the symbol are intellectual property of the founder of the party and the party itself. So, having said that, being a different matter, the government of the day needs to step in with a message that no matter who is taking possession of a property, needs to do it legally. There has to be some kind of law in favor of this possession. And B, it's not a case of finders keepers. Just because I found that, and obviously it seems that Chandrima Bhattacharya was hand in glove with the whole thing, because she was there and they walked in. So, apart from all the complications of the turmoil within the Trinamool, of the so of, as Monojit was saying, those who were very close to and pampered by Mamata Banerjee ditching her in this way, the government of the day has to maintain law. And there is a certain order of doing things, and it seems to prefer to ignore this. And if you look at it in a different sense, this is like squatters' rights. I come in and I squat, and then nobody comes to evict me. If that is exactly what it is all about, then what are these bulldozers doing, evicting hawkers and pavement dwellers and breaking down their homes? They are also squatters. They also have rights. So, the government needs to be very clear about how it is going to deal with the issue. It can't have separate standards for separate categories of people. Then it would appear that the Ritabrata faction, and the leader and his claim of being the real Trinamool, is openly and clearly backed by the BJP. Up to today, I was confused about exactly how to describe the relationship between the claimants of the Trinamool and the BJP. I couldn't define that relationship, but now it's very clear. They come in, they squat, and the government has nothing to say. So who squatters' rights apply to one set of people, but not to the reals, but not to another set of squatters who are powerless and have no political value for the ruling BJP at the moment.
Right. Right. So I'll come to Samir now. Samir, this entire thing of and the kind of optics which played out, that the rebel faction members, they went inside, they opened the locks. In fact, they changed the locks, and then the posters were removed. All that was happening in the full glare of the camera. What do you think was a message, and what is the big message out of this capture of Trinamool Bhavan?
See, there is two two fallout of this. One, today we saw the ripple effect of the Ritabrata fraction's takeover of the TMC office. So when Chandrima Bhattacharya, who had been named the party's state president by the Mamata Banerjee faction just last month, so she resigned from all post and joined the rival camp. Now her defection is a bigger blow to the TMC, because she was also Mamata Banerjee's authorized contact person with the election commission. So these developments clearly shows that Mamata Banerjee is not only losing the grip of her grip on the party, but also backing off her loyalists. So, in this fight over who is the real TMC, ultimately the side who can prove before the court of law or the ECI that whoever has the majority. So this entire thing, like you take the majority, now they control the rival faction, they are majority in the assembly. Another this thing, dissident group which has joined NCPI, they are majority in parliament. Now now the third part is the taking over of the party districts and other committees, state committees. So by this capturing of the party office, taking control over the party office, Ritabrata factions is trying to assert their strength, that look, we are the real TMC and we control all the party offices, everything. So this is part of that. That is one aspect. But for the common person, who controls the TMC is hardly matters to a common person, for a general citizen. What matters is that, in the process, now what we are losing is that instead of holding the government accountable, we are still discussing on the future of the opposition party. There are so many issues like hawker evictions and other issues, but we are not discussing all those issues. So that is how, the accountability is shifting from the government. And you had asked earlier why the BJP is backing this, because they know that, you may like it or not, but Mamata Banerjee remains the most popular opposition face in the state till today. And they know that the moment she starts any with this thing, public mobilization, or the moment she hits the street, uh, she can turn the table, she can turn the tide against this government. And already on several issues, the government is losing popularity. And if one person can, capitalize on that sentiment, is Mamata Banerjee. And that's why the effort is how to, sideline this thing, diminished her political utility, basically. This is a well thought out plan. Now the people like Chandrima Bhattacharjee, who resigned today, she was the Mamata Banerjee's authorized contact person in the election commission. So and every step, some hurdles are being created for the Mamata Banerjee faction of the TMC. And now it has come to such a stage that the party is not sure whom to give responsibility, because whether that person will stay with the TMC with the Mamata Banerjee is not known. All her loyalists are deserting one after another. And as Manojit Mandal has rightly pointed out, all these are her own doing. Basically, she had built up this party, bringing people from here and there, without checking their loyalty or proper background, what kind of service they had provided to the society, or what and whether they were really loyal to the party, what was their contribution to the party. Those things were never accounted. Only the loyalty towards her was
Yes.
considered as the main factor to get party tickets or get party position. And those who had those who were loyal to her, was basically, they were not loyal to her per se, they were loyal to the power that she was holding. The moment she lost that power, now they are deserting. So,
No,
but
but now
unfortunately,
right. Uh, yes, continue.
unfortunately, unfortunately, because of this fighting, the people of the state is, this is a big loss for the people of the party, in the sense, people of the state, in the sense that the government is not being accounted for many things.
Right. All right. Now, the big question is, Manojit, I'll come to you. What are the options now before Mamata Banerjee and her supporters? I was listening to Shaugato Rai. In fact, I think Shaugato Rai had said that we will go to court. This is illegal. So what is going to happen now as the next step?
No, first of all, from today onwards, many of the student leaders, they started, sitting the original TMC Bhavan. That's also on the bypass, Metropolitan bypass. One part of that building, I think, has been barely completed. So they have started operating from there. And on this particular aspect, which was, again, I say, rented building, I think there would be some criminal cases against them, though the cases won't be registered, because we all know that they were all doing at the behest of the BJP and the government. If this was a civil case, the police had no business to go there, and did not should not allow the other TMC MLAs like Kunal Ghosh, Madan Mitra to enter. If they can enter, they should have also should have been allowed to enter also. I think we all understand what this is happening. When you talk about the popularity of the leader, I think Mamata Banerjee is still the most popular leader in this state. I mean, if you look at her, followers on the social media handle, I think it's thrice the number that Shubhendu Adhikari held. The problem with Mamata, I think she lost precious time after the election, after the defeat of the election. The first problem was not acknowledging the defeat. Defeat was a defeat. Yes, SR was a factor. That was a very big mistake that she committed. She should have acknowledged the defeat within 4 or 5 days, saying that yes, we'll fight it out. Look at it. You are talking about who is going to hold the government accountable. I'm thinking about who is going to stand beside the people who are disenfranchised. 3.8 million them. Nobody's talking about them. I mean, the tribunals are getting shut every other day. There are barely few of the tribunals are functioning now, and 20, 30 matters are being resolved every day. And if you go this way, this will take another 20 years to actually dispose of all the cases. So Mamata Banerjee had this opportunity, still has this opportunity of fighting for these people, rights of these people. I mean, those political battles will happen. Legally, I tell you, as far as I understand the constitution of All India Trinamool Congress, Mamata Banerjee has been elected as the chairperson until her death. So legally, her position is very strong. You can't compare this with what happened with Shiv Sena, because Balasaheb Thackeray was not there. Here the party creator is there, the chairperson is leaving. They're all, I think, playing to the gallery, saying that, yeah, we have no faith in the election commission. Election commission might, deliver the verdict in their favor. There are two parties, legislative and the political party. You hold the power with the political party, not with the legislative party. The legislative party may not exist. Nonetheless, the political party will exist, like in case of CPIM. CPIM did not have any MLA from 2021. Did the party also get abolished with that? The answer is no. This is bare minimum common sense that a journalist should ask. The party exists beyond the legislative party or the parliamentary party. Even if there is not a single MP or MLA in a parliament or legislative assembly, still the party exists. Party exists because of the registered constitution, which was registered with the Election Commission of India. And in this case, Mamata Banerjee has been unanimously chosen as the chairperson until her death. It is only she can change the goalpost, not anyone else. But yes, that has to be fought out, I think, in the court of law, not with the Election Commission. Election Commission, we know that all these are happening at the behest of the BJP and their bosses. The legal position is very clear, and people also, most importantly, people also understand. I mean, ask these people, 85, public servants, 60 MLA or 20 MPs, ask them to go to the constituency and put up 8,000 of the workers together. I challenge them. Make them together, 80 of them, MPs and MLAs. They can't even hold meetings with 8,000 people, I tell you. They're not going to their constituency. None of them. In the last 2 months, today is the 4th July, the election was won on 4th of May by BJP. For the last 2 months, these people have not even gone to their constituency. They're all doing it in Calcutta or in Delhi. So I think people understand what is what. I mean, we have to wait for the next election, which is happening towards the end of this year, the municipal election. There will be 120 municipal bodies which will go to poll. I think that will be one of the biggest tests for Mamata, not for these traitors, because their political career is already over. As far as winning is concerned, they're not going to win on their own ever, I tell you.
Right. So, Shikhar, do you feel that all these moves which BJP is making of capturing and then this entire rebel faction,
just
how
one more 10 seconds, just 10 seconds.
Yes, Martyrs. Yes.
Just watch out the profile, the Facebook or X profiles of these traitors, and look at the comments. 99% of the comments by their own followers are adverse comments. That is indicative of what they are doing now.
Right. All right. So, Shikhar, I was asking you that despite all these moves which BJP is making to let Mamata Banerjee feel down and, just dampen her spirits, is she, despite the big loss, the electoral loss, is she emerging as a victor in the eyes of the people of Bengal? You'll have to unmute. Shikha, unmute, please. Shikha, unmute yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Two things. One is she emerging as a victor in the eyes of the people? A lot of people are convinced on the ground that they voted for her and that she should have won. And that is something that, it's been checked out by a lot of people that in certain places the outcome in terms of the results of the election to the way in which people voted, there is a huge discrepancy. So, if the eyes of a lot of people, and let us not make any mistakes, 40% of the people did vote for her. In the eyes of a lot of people, she should have won. Number one. Number two is in the eyes of women in particular. I mean, this is an opportunity, not just the evictions and what is happening with the Trinamool symbol and the name, but look at what is happening with women. Women are not, some 1 crore women have allegedly got the money, because not everybody had got the money. Then two, this means over 50% of the women who were getting the money are not getting the money. There is a conversation across all recipients, those who've got it and those who haven't got it and those who have been left out of it, that there was a different way of doing this. There was a different way of verifying who is eligible and who is not eligible for the benefit, for the direct cash transfer. All of these are Mamata's own programs. She should be out there on the streets, not losing time, because this is why people did vote for her. So, in other words, by not being there out on the ground, in the open, talking about these things, she is not defending what she actually stood for, and which is why people voted for her. The SIR is definitely an issue, and Monojit is absolutely right. You can't have 37, 38 lakh people off the lists in this way. And the worst part of it is, I don't know if Monojit and Samir have been following it, but a fellow journalist, somebody who was the editor of the Telegraph, he was denied a passport because he was not on the voters list. Has the voters list become a proxy for everything else? This whole business of... So if Mr. Rajagopal was a victim, then can you imagine how many other victims there are who have no credentials like Mr. Rajagopal to take it to the public and to have Mr. Sathisan, who was the Chief Minister of Kerala, take up his case. So these are issues that Mamata Banerjee already has. Is she losing an opportunity? That we'll have to figure out on the 21st of July. How she handles that 21st of July. We've had a conversation on this before, Neelu. But 21st of July is when she has to make it very clear about who she is and where she stands. She's certainly an opposition. She's certainly the best known opposition face in West Bengal, without a doubt. After all these 60 rebels or 65 rebels or however many rebels and whatever else they may, and the others who may be on the verge of rebellion, all these 80 people won on a party symbol and a party ticket. That party and that ticket and that leader was Mamata Banerjee. That party and that leader got 40% of the seat, of the votes. So, Mamata Banerjee definitely has a responsibility, and her present exclusion, or I know whether this is a kind of, going into a kind of, I don't know, maybe she's into some kind of a reflection of what things are. But
Right.
whatever it is, that's not how politicians function. Politicians take losses and wins in their stride and get on with representing the people. So what she's doing at the moment is abdicating without anybody else taking over the responsibility of representing the 40% voters who voted for her.
That's true. Okay, so Samir, so what do we say towards the end of this story? And Martyrs' Day is also around the corner. I'm sure she must be thinking about how she's going to go about the event. The other day, when she had said that even if there are 4 people, I will go ahead with the Martyrs rally. What is really happening, and will we see Mamata back on the street now?
See, all this thing is happening to prevent her from coming to the street. This because to build up a mass movement, you have to first know who are going to be with you. So just other day she appointed somebody as the state president, and within a month that person deserts her. So for her also, even to build up a movement, it's TMC is in a complete chaos. So first she will have to this thing set her house in order before going to the street. And see, look at the Martyrs' Day. To prevent this Martyrs' Day, the government has imposed prohibitory order in central Calcutta area for 60 days. So clearly the government is very scared of her. They don't want her to hit the street, and that's why all these things are being orchestrated. So, but surely Mamata Banerjee will have to overcome all this problem, and she will have to play the role of an effective opposition, as she had played during the CPA left front era. So she and today she is going to have this thing. She will address her supporters. So over Facebook Live. So we'll have to wait and see what message she gives there, and she may, announce some program. So we have to wait for that.
We'll have to wait and see what Mamata Banerjee does and what her next step would be. We'll have to end it here. Thank you so much, Shikha Mukherjee, Manojit Mandal,
Thank
Samir
you.
Purkar. Thank you very much for joining.